Pooh Shiesty's trial has now started for his court case. Things are not looking good at all for him. We've basically watched him surrender in his case. Shiesty's looking at facing 20 years in prison for what he did. Here's his reaction in court and everything you need to know about his court case. On October 6th, Pooh Shiesty gave a message out to his fans and haters by saying, and I quote, "F these boys out here hating, waiting for a man to fall. I don't fall, I'm a giant." After releasing that message, Pooh Shiesty's lawyers officially withdrew their request to delay the trial. This means that his trial has now started and Shiesty is not looking too confident about it. When showing up to his court hearing about his trial, Pooh Shiesty walked in wearing what's called a turtle suit. Typically when in jail, if you're having a hard time saying things about your own life and crying, law enforcement will actually take your clothes. They'll take everything inside of your jail cell and they'll basically just leave you with what's called a turtle suit. You can't do anything to yourself or to anyone else with what you probably could do with clothing, but with a turtle suit, you can't do anything. It's a very sensitive subject, but Pooh Shiesty has been silent for the last few months. This is due to how severe his court cases are, due to the fact that he already got told by a judge he's looking at life in prison. But yesterday at the time of this recording, Pooh Shiesty told the judge in his court case that he will now like to change his plea to guilty for the incident of using a firearm towards two individuals in exchange for a lesser sentence, so that way there is no long trial. Many people say that this is a cry for help by Pooh Shiesty. This cry for help is starting to be because Pooh Shiesty will be facing federal armed robbery charges in this case. That is a maximum of life in prison if convicted, and he's literally trying to admit to it right now. Pooh Shiesty did claim not guilty at the start, but the evidence that's stacking against him is so major that the judge would literally just get mad at him in court for lying and not saying that he's guilty. The evidence files in his court case were also released to the public. Now this is evidence that everybody needs to see. Shiesty did not think this robbery fully through. He literally did the robbery beside a police station in a parking lot. And because it was right beside a police station, the entire street was littered with security cameras and the entire incident was caught on film. And shortly after the incident went down, Shiesty took a selfie with the vehicle that he did the armed robbery in on the same day on Instagram. He then proceeded to head over to the airport. He ended up renting a private jet and he left Florida all within a few hours. This was so then he wouldn't get arrested in Florida. You almost can't even make this stuff up. When Pooh Shiesty started gaining major attention in the rap world, he went to go meet two individuals inside of a parking lot. Shiesty arrives driving a bright green McLaren sports car, something that's very hard to miss when driving down the street. When Shiesty and his boy arrived, they hopped out of their vehicle and they met the two men. Shiesty was originally supposed to buy high-end sneakers as well as some narcotics. At the time, Shiesty was wearing a mask over his face. This made it very hard for law enforcement to figure out who it was. But then everything was going normal. Shiesty was talking to the two individuals, working out a deal. Shiesty then pulls out a firearm and says, "No, I'm good, this is a robbery." When pulling out his firearm, the two men quickly tried to dash the scene. When Shiesty starts chasing them, using his firearm towards them, hitting one man in the hip and the other one in the backside. Shiesty then grabbed the high-end sneakers as well as the narcotics. He hopped back into his McLaren with all of the goods, and while trying to make a quick getaway, a Louis Vuitton bag falls out of his McLaren. Now in this Louis Vuitton bag, there was $40,912 in cash, and again, I cannot stress this enough, Shiesty might be the unluckiest rapper I've ever seen in my life. Now these were in the evidence files. Right here is a selfie of Pooh Shiesty standing beside as well as inside of the bright green McLaren. As you can see, this was posted to his Instagram page the same day the robbery went down. The next piece of evidence was the Louis Vuitton bag with the $40,912 all in cash. Now this is actually being used against Pooh Shiesty, as when the bag fell out of his McLaren, law enforcement were able to scoop it out of the parking lot, and a law enforcement agent had a weird idea to check the serial numbers on all of the bills that were inside of the Louis Vuitton bag. And they also downloaded all of Pooh Shiesty's Instagram photos of him doing the money stretch across his arm type thing, or whatever it's called. But anyways, the feds downloaded these photos and they were able to zoom in on them, and you will not believe this, but they were able to match one of the serial numbers that was inside of the bag of cash to one of his Instagram photos. Meaning that this was Pooh Shiesty's bag of money, this was his all green McLaren, and that it was Pooh Shiesty who used a firearm towards two individuals inside of a parking lot. So with this heart of evidence, Pooh Shiesty going into this case saying that he is not guilty of doing it, even though all of that evidence that's stacked against him, is gonna make him look very terrible against the judge, and it would just be the smartest thing to do what he is doing right now and pleading guilty to the case. Now this is going to be sentencing him to 20 plus years in prison. He did a lot of things that no rapper and no one really in general should ever do. Very sad to see a rapper of Pooh Shiesty's potential be getting sentenced to prison like this. It's very upsetting, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. It's been District Trending and I'm out. Peace.